Hi, welcome to another edition of the Free Exchange of Ideas. Today is Wednesday, February 21, uh, 2024. Just so you have that. I have a couple of stories for you today. Two stories, actually. One is about Remington Arms Company out of New York, and the other one is a new law in. Did I keep it? Yeah, okay. A new law in Idaho. So I'm going to start with the Remington Arms Company Incorporated in New York, just because it's the easier of the two to deal with, to be honest. Um, Remington Arms is closing its factory in, I think it's Ilion, New York, Ilion. And they are relocating to Georgia after operating for over 200 years in New York. According to Fox Business, Remington is the oldest gun manufacturer in the United States as of 1816. Um, Union officials were notified last year that the company has decided to close its New York manufacturing facility in March of this year. The company is relocating its operations to Georgia, where the gun manufacturing industry is welcomed. Yeah, that's an important thing, where it is welcomed, where they aren't trying to ruin the business, they aren't trying to ruin the company, they aren't trying to smack us with some weird law to keep us from, uh, being able to keep and bear arms. So the company is relocating to Georgia. 208 years of history gone. And that's from the mayor John P. Stevens of Ilion, New York. I'm just gonna pronounce it that way. Hopefully, if I got it wrong, please let me know in the comment section. I'll read that. Uh, Ilion and Remington. Remington is Ilion. That is what he told the New York Times. The Daily Mail reported that the relocation of the gun manufacturing company will result in roughly 300 individuals losing their job in Ilion. Stevens told the Daily Mail that the village also anticipates a $1 million loss in revenue. Only $1 million? Ilion must be tiny. It's like the town is losing its soul. It's almost like losing a family member. That's the thing that people are struggling with, the nostalgia, the history. It feels like we're losing the identity of the town. Yeah, I would guess. Maybe if you'd been a little more polite to them, taken care of them, told New York City to piss off, because that's really where this is coming from. Let's see. The Associated Press reported that Remington has cited high costs at the New York facility as a contributing factor to the company's decision to relocate. However, both U.S. Rep. Elise Stefanik, who's a Republican from New York, and Republican State Senator Mark Walchuk, I'm going to hope, have blamed New York's strict gun laws for forcing Remington to relocate to Georgia. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's the attack on the business. Because Remington sells weapons literally everywhere on the planet, weapons and ammunition. Everywhere on the planet, you can find a Remington. So it's not just the strict laws in New York, not the strict gun laws in New York, because they're a business. But New York has filed several lawsuits, and people have filed lawsuits through New York against Remington. And it's like you can't do that without cause. We actually have a law, a federal law that says gun manufacturers are not susceptible to lawsuits, frivolous lawsuits that aren't specific to a a weapon that has been bought and was um, not working properly and injured someone. That's a different thing. You can sue them for that because the weapon itself wasn't working properly. However, if the weapon was sold to someone and that someone did something stupid like shoot up a school or whatever, you can't sue the manufacturer. It's not the manufacturer's fault that this individual used their weapon in an uh, sociable way. Let's just put it that way. Um, you can't sue somebody. You can't sue the third party in this run. All they did was sell the weapon, which is legal in the United States. Anyway, um, It's because of New York Democrats' unconstitutional gun grab policies that the oldest gun manufacturer in the country had been run out of the state, Stefanik previously said in a press release. Hochul must stop her unconstitutional assault on the Second Amendment now. She's not going to do that. We all know that. She's not going to do that because it doesn't work in her favor. It doesn't run with Democrats, you know, uh, stated goals, which is when one of them is to get guns out of the United States. According to Fox Business, Walczek has blamed New York's gun industry liability law, that's the one I was talking about, for forcing the iconic gun manufacturer out of the Empire State. The gun law was signed in 2021 by former Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo and allows gun manufacturers to be sued if they knowingly or recklessly create, maintain, or contribute to violence. I don't know how you could say that in a court of law with a straight face. I just don't. Sorry about that. Despite being forced out of New York, Remington Arms CEO Ken Darcy has expressed excitement about the company's move to a state that supports the Second Amendment. We are very excited to come to Georgia, a state that not only welcomes business, but enthusiastically supports and welcomes companies in the firearms industry, Darcy said last fall. Everyone involved in this process has shown how important business is to the state and how welcoming they are to all businesses, including the firearms industry. How nice is that? And I don't know where this white light is coming from, but we're just going to kind of run through it. So, Remington, the oldest manufacturer, weapons manufacturer, and ammunition manufacturer in the United States, has been in New York for over, what did they say, over 250 years? Let me go back to the top. 200 years in the state. So, yeah, hopefully that gets the New York legislature to clean their act up and tell Hochul or whoever becomes governor after her, no, we're not gonna throw money away anymore. I think that's what California needs to hear. We don't have very many actual weapons manufacturers in California. I think there's a couple of ammunition manufacturers, but if they just picked up and said, "Let's go to Texas," because Texas is getting all of our business, maybe California would see it differently, but I doubt it. And the reason I say that is because they still get. It would mean that they don't have to do anything for Californians not to be able to have weapons, other than to keep their what is that law where we can only have so many guns because they're safe, but cops could have any gun they want off the registry. Uh, if you want a Glock, if you want a Gen 3 Glock, then who the hell is that? Then you can't, as a citizen, you can't get a Gen 3 here in California unless you're a cop. Then you can get a Gen 3. And then if they want to sell that to you at an exorbitantly priced or high priced area, you can't get that Gen 3. That's the only way you can get it. Now, I'm not a Glock fanboy, but I understand that the Gen 3 is a good weapon. So the reason that California made this registry is to say, well, you can't have any of these weapons because these weapons are not safe, but they're safe for cops or you know legislators. Nonetheless, so that's what's happening in New York. I am so happy to hear this. Honestly, Remington is a rock solid company, rock solid business, and the fact that they can just pick up and move states away tells me that they're going to be just fine. New York is going to be hurting a little bit. It's only $1 million, probably $1 million a year, but still, that's no small amount, especially to a thing that's that to a sorry a city that's that small. All right, so number two, this one, uh, I'm not sure what to think of it. I like it for what it is, but I'm not sure. One, I'm not sure of the constitutionality of it, and two, uh, we all know the recidivism rate for pedophiles is literally 100%. Once they get out of jail, if they survive prison and they get out and they can be registered sex offenders, can't live in a school zone, can't live in a neighborhood with a bunch of kids, blah, 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 whatever, right? There are certain rules for their life post prison to death. In Idaho, I want to read this to you. Sex crimes against children could be punishable by death under a new bill that the Idaho House Republican legislatures passed on Tuesday. I think it has to go to the Senate and then to the governor. I don't think the governor would probably have a problem signing this. House Bill 515 would allow for the death penalty in cases of lewd conduct with children under the age of 12 with aggravating circumstances. I don't know what the aggravating circumstances are. I will post both of these in the things below. And in this particular article, the House Bill 515 is a link, so you'll be able to read it directly yourself. Pardon me. Let's see. Co-sponsored Representative Bruce Skog, Republican from Nampa, told House lawmakers that the death penalty will be reserved for heinous cases, like repeat offenders. Again, we all know that pedophiles have a 100% recidivism rate. I don't know what to do with that. There is a deep, dark, dark side in our culture, and it's our job to protect the children. There are times when things are so wicked that retribution is appropriate, Skog said. Idaho law only allows the death penalty in first-degree murder cases, according to Idaho reports. The U.S. Supreme Court in 2008 blocked death penalties for child rape cases in Kennedy v. Louisiana. Florida passed a child rape death penalty law last year, so 2023. Idaho law only allows the death penalty responding to concerns that the Idaho bill is unconstitutional, Skog said that he thinks the current Supreme Court would reach a different decision. Is that a possibility? Maybe. I wouldn't put money on it. It could easily go 5-4 either way, I think. That's my opinion. Only 8 Idaho prisoners are on death row, according to the Idaho Department of Corrections. Skog said he expects fewer cases under the new bill. It would be very rare that this case would happen. It would be very rare that a prosecutor would take this kind of case and ask for the death penalty, but it will happen. And I say to you that when you see that case, you read about it in the newspaper, you're going to say, this is the one case that this needs to happen. I'm not going to read the rest of this because it actually is kind of a long article, but I will read this part. Where is it? Okay. Representative Chris Mathias, a Democrat out of Boise, told House lawmakers the bill would make life easier on inmates who shouldn't have it easier. The people who commit these crimes are the least favored inmates, he said. They live in constant fear, constant duress, constant threats, constant intimidation, and that is the life they should live, he said. What this bill will do is say, you know what, let's take you out of Gen Pop. Let's give you your own cell in your own wing where you won't have to worry about any of that anymore. We're going to extend your life by some years while you go through the $1 million appeals process to get through the Ninth Circuit, all the way to the Supreme Court, in hopes that maybe the law will be overturned. And when we are going to relieve the worst people in our society of the burden that they should carry for the rest of their life. De Leon also said the most proven deterrence method for sexual assault crimes is sex education. I have no idea where he got that idea because it doesn't work. Sex education to who? Kids? Children under 12? Pedophiles? Pedophiles already know what they want and they're not going to change. Let's see. And that the death penalty does not deter violent crimes. I don't think that's true. If it's used, it will absolutely deter violent crimes because nobody wants to die from the electric chair or lethal injection or what was the last thing the guy did? Nitrogen hypoxia. That was ugly. If you haven't heard about that case, go back to I did a show on this maybe 3 or 4 shows back. I honestly don't remember. I could look for it and put it up in the corner, but I don't know how to put it up in the corner, so that's where you're at now. Just go through my stuff. You'll find it. It's not hard. Um, so I'll put these two up there. I'll put their links up in the description box below. Honestly, after that, that's all I got for you. I love y'all. Remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. Those are the things that really push this out into the algorithms. I currently have 23 uh, subscribers, so I need to get to, I think it's 1,000 before I can start monetizing anything. And under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have put out two shows this week, but these two articles really caught my attention, and I really think that you need to have time to research them just a wee bit and read them yourselves and do a little further, a little beyond that in your own research, so that you understand better why this is going to kill New York, not just this one case of Remington, but there are many uh, weapons manufacturing groups that are still there in New York, not in New York City, because they just suck. But I'm not going to support anything in New York ever again until this changes greatly, and I don't think it'll change in my lifetime, if I'm honest. I'm not a young man. Today is my 62nd birthday, the beginning of my 63rd trip around the sun. Hopefully, we have a good one this time. I like it. Anyway, so yeah, do the things on the bottom. Please help me out just a little bit. Share it on your Facebook page or your Instagram or whatever, uh, and uh, and help me out just a little bit. Uh, that's all I got for you. So remember, even fluffy bunnies have teeth and claws for a reason. When live long, fight hard, win the day. All right, you guys have a great day. See ya.